Native CDFIs are helping Wisconsin's tribal nations recover from the pandemic by providing forgivable loans and business management assistance. This support is helping Native entrepreneurs rebuild their businesses and create jobs, which is building a more sustainable future for Wisconsin's tribal nations. Join us to hear inspiring stories of Indigenous entrepreneurs and tribal enterprises building wealth and creating sustainable futures.
So my experience in life, growing up on the reservation, some of these opportunities I have now weren't there. Especially for Native Americans, it's not going to be given to you. If we have success, it is self-made. We don't have old money. There's things that we are working towards now in the CDFIs that are helping us get those bright minds that we have and nurture them financially or even as another business owner, and we can be successful. So at ANASA, we do all sorts of traffic control, flagging operation, lane closures, detour. We work a lot for the utility sector. Our biggest thing is the flagging side of it, though. That's what a lot of our customers are using us for now. I started off as just a traffic control tech, flagging, lane closure delivery guy. Once I got on a site, I realized that I loved working in traffic control. It was just different. You're out on the roadway, you're next to cars doing 65, 75 miles an hour, and you're pushing them over. I just really fell in love with that aspect of what that job was bringing. Having that pandemic hit at that particular time definitely was another obstacle in wanting to start this, but also realizing that life is short. So, talking with the wife, and we came up with the agreement together that it was time to move forward. So initially, when I had started the idea of the business, I was going to do both traffic control and restoration for the utility companies. I had met with a lady from the SBA, and we got to talking about how to put a business plan together. We spent a few months doing that back and forth and kind of what the experience was. And then you had to dive into the finances, what it would take for a startup. So then we kind of went back and forth to a couple of banks just with the idea of what we're doing, where we need to be. And we were getting a lot of closed doors. For a startup business like that, you were looking at a large lump sum of money that the commercial banks just weren't looking to give to an individual that doesn't have the background, I guess, or the financial backing that's needed for that. So that's when they got me in touch with the FACC, and I met with Gary and Bill, and we went back and forth discussing what was most important at the level that they were able to commit to, where could we excel at, and that was traffic control, where we could get off the ground running and be successful. Now I use that because no one knows if you're going to be or not, but that gave us the best shot with the hopes of maybe one day growing into the restoration. It was meeting with them, having their guidance and saying, hey, look, let's narrow the scope. Let's not shoot for something that was just not feasible at the time, and see how we can still get your dream up and running, but just taking it a step at a time.
That's what we do at FACC. We predominantly work in Native communities who, again, have been historically underserved. We're working with all minority populations, again, in all these communities that have been underserved, that need access to capital, that need access to business knowledge, resources to address those barriers to the business world. Adam Skinendor, he was one of the first clients that I worked with, and he has been just a rock star. In every step of the way, his major thought was growth. Can I take this job? May need a few more people, may need a few more trucks, and he always took that risk. And he saw, the fruits of his labor big time. He's gone from, a small shop to 40 plus employees, a whole fleet of vehicles.
Adam, he really developed a strong working relationship with Bill as his loan officer. And I'd come in here 6 at night, and he and Bill and Adam would be at the big screen going over financial projections. I think that relationship was important. And that's part of what you get when you're a member here and a client of FACC is you get the full resource package. If we have the resources, you have them. And if we don't, we generally can find additional resources, to support your industry.
Adam's obviously in the last couple of years has really established himself in the market. Traffic control and especially flagging staff. There's a lot of untapped possibilities for ANASA and Adam to thrive in the WISDOT world.
Having a traffic control company
that can handle our scope of work is just so important. And it's reassuring to me, as operation manager for Northeast Asphalt, that I have Adam and his company to lean on here in the future.
The fact that the FACC, the CDFIs that I've been working with, that they are there, I will forever be grateful. They are a jumpstart for the Indian community. I will always be a member of the chamber. I think that being a part of Indian country is key to always be able to give back. Now that they help me, I want to make sure I'm there to help them. And not only that, to let other people know that might be in my boots when I first started, that there are these opportunities out there, and with a little help and guidance, that they too can be successful. You can't do it by yourself. You absolutely need those people. There was no doubt that with all my experience, I still was limited with getting a business started, and without the CDFIs, this absolutely would have been a struggle to get off on my own.
The Resilience, Recovery, and Prosperity series, showcasing tribal economic development and the strength of the indigenous economy. Brought to you by the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, the Wisconsin Indigenous Economic Development Corporation, the Department of Administration, and the American Indian Chamber of Commerce of Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Indigenous Economic Development Corporation is a coalition of nonprofit Native community development financial institutions, CDFIs. Our mission is to expand Native economic development by building the financial sovereignty of Native individuals, families, Native-owned businesses, tribal enterprises, and communities in Wisconsin. This project is being supported in whole or in part by the American Rescue Plan Act funds awarded to the Wisconsin Indigenous Economic Development Corporation by the Wisconsin Department of Administration by the United States Department of the Treasury. The Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, WIEDC, is pleased to serve as a Wisconsin Indigenous Economic Development Corporation key strategic partner. This video was made possible in part from support of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation.